So let's just be really comfortable in our bodies. That's the most important thing when we start our practice, is to just check in with our body. And to do that really effectively, let's use our breath. We can close our eyes and then just feel our posture. So start in our text, in the Dharma, in the sacred text. The Dharma says, begin every session of meditation or every practice session with your spine as straight as a Fletcher's arrow. So of course, back in India, where the Buddha attained enlightenment, these arrows were made by hand, and the way a good arrow maker, a Fletcher, would make them would have to be exactly straight, because that would influence the direction the arrow would go in. And similarly, in our meditation practice, when our spine is nice and straight, it doesn't matter whether you're sitting on a cushion like I am on the ground or in a chair, you really want to keep your posture nice and tall. And that helps when we breathe, that helps the winds, in Tibetan we call it the lung, the air movement, really travel through our whole physical body and to our subtle body. In Tibetan medicine said the subtle body has about 72,000 channels that this wind needs to move through. And when these channels are open, when the body's in good posture, it really helps the mind and the body kind of come together and really brings the mind's fullness of space, of openness, of clarity, deeply, deeply, deeply into merging with our physical being. So just check your posture, sit up nice and tall. Sometimes it's good to visualize on the crown of your head. It's helpful if you take your finger, your forefinger and your thumb, and you can bring your middle finger to the top point of your head. That's called the the Ushnisha point, the crown chakra. And the channel that goes straight down is the Uma. So you just imagine this lifts up and your tailbone sinks down. And you're just stretching the spine out a bit, just up and down, just getting it nice and long and straight. And for our breathing in, we're going to rest the tip of our tongue on the roof of the mouth behind the teeth. Gently relax the jaw, relax all the muscles. We have hundreds of facial muscles. Relax everything. Relax the lips and the shoulders and the neck. Let everything kind of melt down and become very soft and spacious. And take a nice, relax the belly. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And as you breathe in, pay attention to the body, relax the belly and let the whole belly through the diaphragm all the way up through the body fill with the breath. So when we breathe in, we want our whole physical body to expand. The diaphragm's a little like a balloon, so let it expand with breath and fill the body with breath. And as you breathe out, just relax and breathe out through the mouth and make the sound, ah. You know, like someone who's just completed a long physical task and finished it to completion, and you're sitting with satisfaction now and just just really inviting everything, the physical, the intellectual, the emotional awareness to relax, to be gentle, and to have a sense of like a job well done and just really good completion as you breathe out. And as we exhale with the sound of ah, we just let everything sink and settle so that on the exhale, everything is coming out. Any tension in the body, any stale breath, stale energy, releasing. And when we breathe in, we're bringing in new, fresh breath, new, fresh energy, arriving freshly to this moment, connecting with our body, settling the mind, quietening the speech, and really opening the heart, inviting everything to drop down from the head into the heart with joy, with kindness towards oneself, love and appreciation to oneself, to have interest in Dharma, to have interest just even in meditation, to bring peace of mind and a compassionate heart to oneself, and the benefits of the practice with joy, with equanimity, serenity. And now we'll bring to mind our root Lama. If we have a root teacher, it can be the person that we first took refuge vows with. It could be someone, if we took higher vows of Vajrayana vows. Maybe we haven't taken any vows. It could be someone just like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who many people have seen or at least know of, who holds his vows very purely as a monk, a simple Buddhist monk. This is our root founder of Tashi Getze Ling, Kensor Rinpoche. He's the teacher for many of us, our root Lama. We bring to mind whomever inspires us. It's a little hard to see in this third picture, but it is also Jetsuma Tenzin Palmo, who's another one of our teachers. So for yourself, it matters most that you bring to mind something that represents pure sacredness, pure goodness, pure motivation, a force for good, someone who's walking with the pure morality of body, speech, and mind, both for their own benefit, for the benefit of the Dharma, the sacred teachings of the Buddha, and most importantly these days, for the benefit of all mother beings, for the poor situations of those suffering right now on this planet, for their happiness, whether we've met them or not, that these are really important objects of our motivation, objects of our practice. And we bring to mind our teacher as kind of embodying the good qualities of the Dharma, of meditation, someone who's living this practice and who's going to also represent the Buddha and the pure teachings of the Buddha in our own heart. Of course, to learn anything of value in our life, we've needed good teachers. Our first teachers are often our parents, but then teachers taught us how to read and write. And in sacred tradition and spiritual practice, teachers are very vital to having a good practice. So we need valid teachers. Monastics are, not all monastics are teachers, but these three monastics happen to be very wonderful teachers. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Kensor Rinpoche, and Jetsuma Tenzin Palmo are among the most respected teachers in the Gelugpa and the Mahayana, Jetsuma and the Kagyu tradition of Vajrayana Buddhism, of Tibetan Buddhism. They are preeminent teachers of their lineage and of their practice. So we're very fortunate, very blessed to have their guidance in our project of Tashi Getze Ling and in our own practice of peace, the peaceful heart and the compassionate mind. So having done the settling, we begin our session by taking refuge. Now, if you haven't taken refuge, it doesn't matter. You can follow along the words. We can post them on the screen, and you can think deeply what it means to take refuge in bodhicitta. So refuge in Buddhism, of course, it means taking safety. Like if there were a storm outside, we would seek someplace safe to come out of the storm that would protect us and keep us from harm. In Buddhism, Dharma, the Buddha gave the Dharma teachings as a refuge from the ordinary appearances of the material world, from the confusion of the ignorance and selfish desires, of the aggression and hatred that arise in beings' minds who don't have a practice. He said it's actually important to see the Dharma as our refuge, as our protection, the teachings, because this is what each of us will follow in order to get the most benefit. He said the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can only point out the path, they can only offer teachings, but you yourself must understand and study the teachings. You yourself must walk the path. And so refuge means that this is how we begin to find benefit and safety from our practice of following the Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha. And then bodhicitta is a Sanskrit term. Bodhi means enlightened or awakened, and citta means mind. And so this is why do we practice? Because there are qualities that we can, just as if we were concerned of our physical well-being, we might go to the gym, we might go out walking, doing exercise to take care of our physical being. Bodhicitta is taking care of the qualities of our mental, emotional being. And if we're honest about it, most of the difficulties we encounter in our own day-to-day life, and that we encounter mostly in the world today, the bigger problems, they're much more created by the mental and emotional disturbances of beings' minds. They're not really as effective to our disturbing our peace because of weather or because of weapons, although there is climate change and there are too many weapons, no doubt, especially in North America, in our own country, we have more weapons than we have human beings. That's got to change. But every day we're not really at threat of those weapons as much as we are as at threat to the undisturbed qualities of our own mind. So where we get trapped with ignorance, where we get trapped with selfish desire, greediness, where we get trapped with some anger, frustration, where we get trapped sometimes with some envy or some pride, these in our own minds are where we get drawn into fear, into anxiety, into depression, sadness. So the Buddha said, actually, these are not part of your mind. Bodhicitta, the enlightened mind, means the nature of each of our minds is luminous, pure, radiant, it's beginningless, endless, it's non-physical. And these other disturbed states of mind that keep us from recognizing this are easily changeable. And so how do we change them? We have to develop this quality of bodhicitta, this awakened mind. And so this is why we say these opening prayers, these opening sentiments, so that we can generate these qualities in our own mind. And then after this, we'll say these four immeasurables, which is what our meditation will be on. So we're going to share the sound. This is the transliteration in Tibetan. So you can hear the Tibetan because Tibetan is a very sacred language. The Tibetans only had a written language to hold the Dharma teachings. Prior to the Dharma coming to Tibet, it was only an oral tradition. And when the king of Tibet in the 7th century invited teachers up from India, from Nalanda, to bring the Dharma, he at the same time sent his foreign minister to Jammu, Kashmir, which was kind of part of Western Tibet at that time, the Tibetan plateau, which today is northern India, Ladakh. And he said, look, go learn their language and come back. And when he came back, having learned Sanskrit and what today is what we would call more Hindi, Tibet would then develop its written language. So I don't really have a copy of it. I'll show you next time. Written Tibetan in their characters looks a lot like Hindi. It all follows one line and hangs down below. So it looks nothing like Chinese. And it was developed only because when the teachers came from Nalanda, this great abbot, Shantarakshita, came and brought the teachings to Tibet. He said, look, you've got your own language. You don't need to learn Sanskrit, but you need to write it down. And so the king had his minister teach a lot of scribes how to write this language. And this is why Tibetans started to write the language, which was to preserve the Dharma. So in that sense, it's a very sacred language and very wonderful. We can rejoice in knowing the history of the language because, of course, it's a bit of a language that's under attack. UNESCO has listed it as an endangered language. So here at Tashi Getzeling, we're not speaking in Tibetan, obviously we're in Maine, but we try to say some of our prayers in Tibetan to honor where we receive these teachings from. And some of us are trying to learn a little bit of Tibetan. So we open by saying the first two prayers in Tibetan, and then we'll say the second one in English, because of course the meaning is very important for us to take deeply into our hearts and minds. So we visualize our teacher, we visualize Shakyamuni Buddha. If you have a very good imagination, you can visualize the refuge field. Whatever your mind can do to think about refuge, being connected with the Buddha. So these are teachings coming, this lineage all the way back 2,600 years to the Buddha, Shakyamuni, and brought to us and preserved and maintained in this pure tradition by the Tibetans for over 1,500 years up in Tibet, until very recently then disturbed from the way they were practiced, and in our sense, very good fortune because of the Chinese invasion, they were brought to us. Otherwise, the Tibetans might still be sitting up there at 16,000 feet doing their thing, and no one would be the wiser for it. Sangye chodam soki chognam la, Jangju bardu dagni kyapsu chi, dagi jinso gi pe sognam ki, drola penchir sangye drupar sho. Sangye chodam soki chognam la, Jangju bardu dagni kyapsu chi, dagi jinso gi pe sognam ki, drola penchir sangye drupar sho. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, until enlightened, I seek refuge. Through merit from giving and the rest, in order to aid all, may I become Buddha. Now the four immeasurables will say once in Tibetan and twice in English. Semchen tamche de wadang de we gyudang dem part gyur chi. Semchen tamche dugnel dang dugnel gi gyudang drel ward gyur chi. Semchen tamche dugnel me pe de wadang mi drel ward gyur chi. Semchen tamche nye ring chodang ni dang drel we tang yom lane Pargyur chi. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings never be parted from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from bias, attachment, and hatred. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings never be parted from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from bias, attachment, and hatred. So these four immeasurable qualities are called the four Brahma Viharas. And this means the four divine abodes. And the Buddha taught this as part of a sutra teaching, kind of a philosophical teaching, in order for his followers who had some capacity, higher capacity in some ways, to understand the teachings through philosophical inquiry, through study. So it meant that those people could have been reading some of the sacred texts before he was teaching. They could have been reading the Upanishads, the Vedanta text from the Hindu tradition, which he took some of his ideas from. And so they would have been educated. And then their minds would have been able to follow the reasoning that he was teaching in the sutras. His original Sangha, the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, the monks and nuns, would have been great memorizers. So they would have heard these teachings and immediately been able to remember them. So a lot of memorization, rote memorization, is still very popular today in the nunneries and monasteries in the Tibetan tradition in exile in India. And the way that it's used is you've got to remember word for word the teachings of the Buddha. You can't add anything to it. You can't leave anything out. And then during debate, you can use your own reasoning. That's kind of like when you bring in your own intellectual sharpness of your intellect and mind, but you use your heart to also hold the spirit of the teaching. So these four immeasurables would have been part of the sutra tradition, where you would have had to read, what are these four Brahma Viharas? Brahma Viharas means divine abode, sacred dwelling place. And the Buddha said, actually, you need to make your mind and heart your own Brahma Vihara. You need to make your mind and heart your own sacred dwelling place. This is where you should live within your vows as a lay person, whether you have lay vows, which means you've taken refuge, you've said, yes, you're going to be officially, you're taking the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, called the three jewels, as your protectors in this life. And you're going to them, you're going to follow the teachings and live by those teachings to the best of your capacity through pure morality of your body, your speech, and your mind. Taking one up to one of the 5 lay precepts, which is not killing, not stealing, not lying, not engaging in sexual misconduct, meaning not having affairs, not being duplicitous in your intimate relations, and not taking drugs and alcohol, not disturbing the beautiful, pure nature of the mind by putting anything into the mind that would confuse it and make things unclear. So when you took refuge, you took maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of those vows. As monastics, we take those vows, plus we take bodhisattva vows, plus we take many longer monastic pratimoksha vows. So we carry even more responsibility, and we have ceremonies that we do twice, at least once a month, and ideally twice a month, that are kind of like called sojung, which are confessional ceremonies, reviewing our minds. Where have we missed some of our sessions of practice during that 2-week period? Where have we lost our temper, maybe become frustrated, not as kind, not as compassionate? Where have we judged somebody or someone in a conversation and let our mind go into duality and not stayed in a genuine bodhicitta, not discriminating, giving equal loving kindness, equal compassion, equal joy, equal equanimity, serenity to all? So we have our own ways of mindfulness with awareness that we hold our Brahma Viharas as our sacred dwelling place, and practices that we have to keep meditating on and coming back to clarify, is my practice really clean, clear? Is it going well? For the benefit of the happiness of all mother sentient beings. And of course, if all mother sentient beings benefiting, then oneself automatically is benefited. So these 4 immeasurables are also just practical. As I said down, I was teaching at an ashram, so not in a Buddhist setting. There were actually some Buddhists there. But when I wrote the program up, I said, actually, these are just 4 wonderful qualities that all human beings can follow. They're just basically good ethics. And they're good ethics for oneself. They're good ethics for anything in one's purview, any kind of other human being, any kind of animals, insects, birds, in the Tibetan Indian tradition, also hungry ghosts, whatever kind of beings. Someone asked me at the teachings, aliens, whatever life form, no discriminating. So whatever ideas you have about what the kind of life forms there are on this planet, as well as in this universe, Buddhaverse, then all of them benefit. That's the point. When you have these 4 qualities, you're only a friend and a genuine human showing up to be of benefit to whoever's in your environment. So the first immeasurable quality, this word that we had, samchen, samchen means, sam is mind. So in this case, mind in our tradition means mind is here. It's more of your energetic heart mind, your intuitive, emotional knowing, as well as bringing your intellect down into the heart center. So it's a feeling and it's a reasoning, but in Tibetan and Vajrayana Buddhism, its locus is here. It's not a Western intellectual idea of mind, of brain. It's down here. So there's a warmth to these 4 immeasurables. And sem is what we're using, everything that's got consciousness, every insect, every fish, snail, frog, bird, to bigger mammals, dolphins, whales, human beings, chimpanzees, baboons, cats, dogs, anything we can think of that's got life that can move itself around based on if it's sensing, if its life is in a good place or not, is considered a semchen, a mind possessor. Sem, it means a mind, and chen means to have, semchen. So this is translated into the English, sentient beings. So here comes our other sentient beings. Clarence, the cat, who loves to come and meditate. He's taking his seat. Why? Because Dharma feels good. He doesn't understand the language, but Clarence understands from here something good is happening. Sometimes animals are actually much more perceptive in this way than the human beings. So this is the idea that all sentient beings are benefiting. Now we start with this idea of the first one is May all beings, sentient beings, have happiness in its causes. In this case, this happiness in its causes is an altruistic wish of love. So this in Tibetan Buddhism is how we define love. Love is defined as the altruistic wish that just like I would always like to have happiness in its causes, so too would all sentient beings. So in this sense, the altruistic wish is just the way I would like happiness in its causes. I'm wishing that for all other beings. And this is a little bit of a different definition of love than the commercial, idealized, romanticized love of, I say, Hollywood, Bollywood, because in India, it's very promoted now this way through the Bollywood of the romance, which is, I love you, therefore I want to be with you, and I need you. And if I don't have you, I can't be happy. It's completely wrong, the Buddha would say. You've got it all mixed up. The idea the Buddha is teaching now, remember, the Buddha had been married. He was a prince and he was married as Siddhartha, as Buddha, as Shakyamuni Buddha, the sage from the Shakya clan. And before he attained enlightenment as a Buddha, he was just known as Gautama, Shakyamuni. So Gautama was his name. And he was married and he had a beautiful wife, and he even had a little son. And later they would become part of his Sangha. He never would have gone back to romantic love, because what he found in his practice was altruistic love is so much more delicious and so much more beneficial and blissful than this kind of selfish, idealized romantic love that's limited. This love that says, darling, I love you, and therefore I wish for you to be happy. And if that includes me, that's fine. And if it doesn't include me, that's just fine too. I still wish for you to be happy. This is beautiful love. This is selfless love. So this is the ideal of, may all beings have this loving kindness, this genuine wish to be established in happiness and the causes of happiness. And the causes of happiness mean just a basic recognition. It doesn't mean that we have to go out and start nonprofit projects. It doesn't mean we have to, as a matter of fact, we can't promote and try to convert people to Buddhism. It's not like saying, hey, I want you to know how great Buddhism is. Its causes just mean, if I'm aware that I'm dedicating my own body, speech, and mind to creating a happy environment around me by not harming anything, I'm already setting up the conditions that any being that comes into contact with my body, with my speech, with my mind, is going to feel safe. They're going to feel openness. Oh, we have another kitty I see is joining. Wonderful, probably more than that. So we're going to create a welcome for all beings to actually feel happy, to feel content, to feel like, oh, this is a nice being to smile to say hello to. It just means a very basic mind of happiness inside of ourselves. So we don't actually have to do anything. This is kind of good news for us in the West, because we're quite human doings these days instead of human beings. We're quite human doings. We're very busy people in the West. We have many, many agendas and many, many responsibilities. So just dedicating a mind that's imbued with the quality and the sacred wish, may all sentient beings have happiness and its causes, means we're only taking at the beginning responsibility to make our own mind happy and be loving and kind to oneself. The second immeasurable quality, may all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes, means we recognize, just the same way I don't want to have suffering, I don't wish for any sentient beings to have suffering. And so in this sense, this is compassion. This is the way in Tibetan Buddhism we describe this beautiful quality of compassion, is this genuine wish that no one, oneself included, and all living beings would never have to have any experience of suffering. And so the causes of suffering, of course, we know are coming from these poisons, what the Buddha called the three poisons: ignorant mind, selfish desiring, so grasping mind, and hatred, aversion. These are states of mind that rise up, that don't bring calmness to oneself. They create suffering within our own mind stream when we're under an ignorant mind, when we're under selfish desire, when we're under the power of anger and hatred, we don't feel good and no one feels good. We're suffering. And so as we don't wish for this, and we can also have compassion for ourselves, obviously, when these states arise in our mind, we need to have compassion for ourselves. That's the first thing we need to do, without a doubt. We need to stop ourselves if we hear something judgmental coming out of our mouth, if we feel anger and hatred coming up in our heart, if we're taking sides in a situation. These days, many people will have opinions about who's wrong and who's right in the situation in Ukraine, but the honest truth is nobody wants to suffer. Nobody does. The Russian people are suffering. The Ukrainian people are suffering. Putin is suffering from his own three poisons of ignorance, attachment, and desire. And the people all around are suffering as well from their own situations of arising out of ignorance, attachment, and desire, because these things create only suffering. So there's got to be a way to get to dialogue. There's got to be a way to get to places and states of mind that are resolved to not let these states of mind arise. But the truth is, no living creature wants suffering. And it's dangerous to just always take sides and say one's right and one's wrong, because this makes dialogue and diplomacy very difficult. So there has to always be some wisdom to try to find not the extremes, but the middle path, what the Buddha would teach. And then, may all sentient beings never be parted from sorrowless bliss. This is immeasurable joy. Why? Because joy benefits everybody. If we always had immeasurable bliss and joy, the word war would never be heard again, and the word suffering would never be heard again. And the Buddha is teaching these qualities as an immeasurable, because just the same way sentient beings are immeasurable, we can never count them all. We say we have 7 billion human beings, approaching 8 billion soon, and that's only humans. So immeasurable other forms of life on the planet, trillions and quadrillions forms of life when we put in all the different kinds of life forms. So those are immeasurable appearances of the way life presents itself. And just as those life forms are immeasurable, these qualities are immeasurable. They can be developed endlessly, boundlessly. How wonderful that is. Emaho. That's really beautiful. We can make our whole practice day by day by day, not just when we say these practices, understanding them deeply in the morning to start our day, and then throughout our day, keeping them in mind. We can use every moment of our day to practice. It's not just sitting doing a formal practice. Most of our day is not lived, even for myself here in this beautiful shrine room. Most of my day is lived out in the world doing other things. So every moment is the opportunity to bring these qualities out. That's fantastic, because that helps us get closer to Buddhahood day by day by day. And the more we practice, the more we are coming closer to recognizing a nature, a mind that's just full of these beautiful qualities. And then the fourth immeasurable quality is, may all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from bias. So equanimity, and another way to say it, is this kind of serenity, this calm abiding that doesn't discriminate between friend, stranger, enemy. Seeing that all are the same, wanting the peace of mind, wanting to feel close without being discriminated against based on age, based on nationality, based on skin tone, based on gender identity, based on religious preference, based on politics. If we just relate to each other as good human beings who have much more in common in just wanting these first three qualities of happiness, compassion, joy, we get to equanimity pretty fast. When we drop all of the high thinking concepts that separate us, we're at this common ground, which the Buddha called our Buddha nature. He said everything that lives has this Buddha nature. And so this is an equanimity free from bias. We let go of our opinions. We let go of our attachment, holding some near and dear, holding others away. Oh, they don't believe the same way I do. They don't agree the same way I do. these ones are only the most precious. The Buddha said that's really not good thinking, because you've moved away from the true nature of reality, which is that the life is beginningless and endless. He said everything that lives has been related to you from beginningless lifetimes into the future, into endless lifetimes. He didn't teach that much about where everything began and where things will end. He just said you can think of life as beginningless and endless, as a flow, as an awareness. And if you realize how much all beings are deeply, deeply interconnected, as His Holiness the Dalai Lama would say, the oneness now of humanity, the true nature of life and of mind is deep, deep, deep interconnection. And the Buddha saw this 2,600 years ago. And now quantum physics is beginning to be able to register and show it by looking at it scientifically. So these four immeasurable qualities we can develop endlessly. They'll never harm us. And we'll do a meditation now to help ourselves by starting first, bringing them into our own hearts and minds much more clearly, much more presently. So again, just sitting up nice and straight, relaxing, bringing back to mind. You can close your eyes to do the visualization. Bringing to mind your teacher, your guide, who's a representative of the Buddha. You can bring to mind also a representative image of the Buddha. Quite small, it says in the text for meditation, not bigger than the thumb and about an arm's length in front of you, kind of at the level of your third eye or in between your eyebrows. You're visualizing this presence. If it's your teachers can be sitting on a lotus and a sun and a moon cushion on a throne upheld by 8 lions, snow lions, 2 at each corner. If you're really good at visualizing. If you're not, don't worry about it. If you're like, well, I can't even see my teacher's face, just put a favorite beautiful bright light there. You can do bright rainbow colors or just pick a very bright white light as a placeholder for that sacred guide and that essence, that energy of awakened mind. You know, and you just most importantly feel that you're in the presence of enlightened energy, of an enlightened mind that's really wishing for you to develop all these qualities fully, endlessly, so that you can be of utmost benefit first to yourself, utmost benefit of upholding the Dharma purely in this world that is so, going to benefit by just you upholding it. And then other beings who are going to benefit from these qualities being developed in your mind stream, bringing these beautiful happiness and compassion and joy and peace of mind, serenity out into whomever you're in contact with and out into the greater environment. These can only benefit. They'll never harm. And now focusing on your heart center, where your mind and heart is located in your body. If you'd like to, I saw this from a teaching by Tara Brach, a wonderful Buddhist teacher in here in North America. If you like it, if you feel you need more awareness for yourself, for your own practice, for kindness towards oneself, she suggests taking your left hand and your right hand and just laying them right there on your heart center in your chest, so that you really begin. We have to begin to develop these qualities first with ourselves. And then once they're really developed and infused into our own mind stream, into our own heart center, we begin to just live them very effortlessly. The way we move with our body, the speech we're doing. Sometimes speech also means knowing when to hold noble silence, not to engage in a conversation. And these will be reflective skills from this awakened mind that we're working to bring to its full enlightenment. So you can feel invited to leave your hands there, or you can just put them in your meditative posture as you wish. So the first sacred wish we are saying in the presence of our teacher, in the presence of the Buddha, in the presence of the awakened mind is how wonderful. We're rejoicing, we're recognizing the qualities. How wonderful if I had happiness and its causes. And then we're saying, and the second part is the sacred wish. May I have happiness and its causes. And now we're making the sacred request from our guide, from the Buddha, from our sacred Lama teacher, or the awakened mind. Please, Guru, deity, Lama, awakened mind, grant your blessings that I may have happiness and its causes. And now you visualize or feel a beautiful stream of light coming from your Lama's heart center and directly coming to the crown of your head, the top of your head, and coming straight down that channel and fusing, merging with your heart center. The sacred energy, sacred light with nectars filled with bodhicitta, with the awakened mind, mingling with your heart center, bringing, sometimes you might feel warmth or tingling, receiving the blessings. In the next sacred rejoicing, we think, how wonderful if I had complete compassion to be free from suffering and all of its causes. A sacred wish. May I be free from suffering and all of its causes. Please, Buddha, Guru, Lama, deity, grant your blessings that I may be free from suffering and its causes. And then again, we feel from the heart center, beautiful stream of awakened light, nectars coming to the crown, straight down and fusing to our heart center and our mind. Pure compassion. Cleansing our own body, speech, and mind of the three poisons, washing away ignorance, attachment, and aversion, and filling us with endless compassion for our own experience, whatever arises in life, that we may meet it with a full compassionate heart and mind. And our next immeasurable quality of joy, boundless joy, or sorrowless bliss. We rejoice just imagining having this quality. We rejoice thinking, how wonderful if I were full of sorrowless bliss, of boundless joy. And if you're having a difficult time finding that these days, His Holiness often, when he speaks at these very high kind of diplomatic and political gatherings in Delhi, India, if people are very solemn that he's meeting with, he tickles them. He reaches over and he says, if people are a little too serious, I make like this. And he shows how he tickles their side. So you can imagine His Holiness giving you a little tickle so that you can find your joy. Then the sacred wish, may my mind be full, my heart be full of boundless joy. Please, Buddha, Guru, Deity, Lama, grant your blessings to fill my heart mind with sorrowless bliss, with joy, boundless joy. And again, visualize the color, beautiful lights of rainbow lights or one colored light, pure light coming to the crown of your head, infusing down, mingling with your heart mind at the heart center. And next we have this beautiful, immeasurable quality of equanimity, peace of mind, unbiased. Really holding this beautiful, open-hearted attitude, seeing all living beings as precious. How wonderful if I could abide in equanimity, free from bias, of strong attachment and strong aversion. This is the rejoicing thought. And now this sacred wish, may I have a mind and heart full of serenity, of equanimity, to abide without bias of strong attachment and strong aversion. And now the sacred request. Please, Buddha, enlightened qualities, Guru, Deity, bless my mind stream to be established in equanimity, in evenness, peacefulness, serenity, without bias, free from strong attachment and strong aversion. And again, we visualize or feel that the sacred blessings of the enlightened mind come to the crown of our head in the form of light and some subtle nectars and infuse down into our heart center and into our mind these qualities enhancing our own qualities to be able to live in equanimity without bias. And now as we're breathing in, we feel ourselves expanding on the in-breath. We are full of this peace of mind, of shamatha, of calm abiding meditation, breathing in these qualities of loving kindness, compassion, and joy begin to expand and infuse and fill us even more with each in-breath And as we breathe out, we can visualize sending these qualities out with that strong wish. May all beings have happiness and its causes. And on the next in-breath, we bring in boundless compassion again. That's already mixed in our heart and mind, and we make that even broader and deeper and send it out through every pore of our being to all limitless beings with that wish. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. In our next breath in, we feel our joy, our boundless joy expanding and sending out that joy in the form of rays of light and nectars to all limitless beings beneath the earth, in the skies, in every direction, all 10 directions. With the sincere wish, may all beings be established in boundless joy. And then the fourth immeasurable wish, we bring in equanimity, the sense of peace of mind, serenity, cool-headedness, and bring in the wish, how wonderful may all sentient beings abide, living in equanimity, peaceful mind, free from bias of strong attachment and strong aversion. And we send this out. We breathe in and increase our own qualities and capacity for equanimity. And as we breathe out, we send out the power and energy of this wish in the form of rays of light and nectars touching all beings without exception with this wish to have peaceful, serene states of existence. And now we can visualize this power of this practice connecting with all other hearts and minds everywhere on the planet who are practicing these four immeasurables. There are many, many, and forming a network that's really covering the globe with this powerful network of these four endless qualities and wishes. Deep interconnection, dependent arising emptiness, creating a beautiful web of enlightened awakening, able to bring through these qualities through the power of the enlightened mind, which is non-physical, which can go everywhere. It is everywhere at once. And therefore the benefits and qualities can arise immediately through the Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya appearances. Most importantly, it is the power of our own personal and pure intention, pure motivation, and pure dedication that is affecting our own practice and capacity to be of ultimate benefit. And in truth, the Buddha said we really can only change one being. We cannot change the world. But if we change ourselves, this is where the awakening and the benefits of the practice will show the most. And by doing that genuinely, this is how the world will come to be the recipient and beneficiary of this intention. So now we can see, visualize the world lit up with these beautiful enlightened qualities. We can then bring our attention back into our heart center, which is glowing with these enlightened qualities. We can see our guide is actually rejoicing, smiling at us. And then bring them to the crown of our head in the form of light and just hold everything. Bring that sacred guide, whether it was the Buddha or the form of light, or a yidam, which is a sacred, when I said guru deity, we think of yidams like Tara or Manjushri or Chenrezig Avalokiteshvara, these beings that you'll see in Tibetan Buddhist tankas. These are qualities visualized in the form of these beings. They're qualities of the awakened mind. Some are representing more wisdom, some more compassion, some more joy, sometimes healing, like with Medicine Buddha. Anyway, you bring your awakened guide to the crown of your head in the form of light and merge it now with oneness, union oneness at your heart center. And request them to stay there, guiding you, so that your own qualities of body, speech, and mind become representative of these four immeasurable qualities. So we'll come back from our meditation now and dedicate our merits. So whenever we do a practice, we always give away the blessings of the practice. As we did actually in this practice, we gave the merits out to all mother sentient beings, but we also say some long life prayers and some particular offering of merits so that we really seal our practice. We open it at the beginning purely, we practice in the middle purely, and we close it or seal it at the end purely, so that these merits have multiple effect by doing this. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezig remain in life till samsara's end. In particular, I pray for the one who knows all the scriptures with the power of his intelligence to have a long life through the solid strength of his mind and his mastery of life, in order to benefit the teachings and all beings with his good, wholehearted resolve. Through this virtue may I swiftly, having gained Guru Buddha's state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious supreme Bodhi mind, may it where unborn arise, and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. Migme se we ter chen chen rezi, di me kien pe wang po jam pel yang, Du gong chen ke pe su yen son kappa lob zang drak pe shabla so wa dev. That last part in Tibetan is Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of unconceiving compassion, Manjushri, Lord of stainless knowledge, Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the land of snow sages, Losang Drakpa, I make requests at your feet. And Losang Drakpa, Lama Tsongkhapa's here on our walls. Our practice, our Tashi gets Ling here for people who are new to this, joining us tonight, is founded in the Gelug tradition, although we're quite non-sectarian practitioners. We've invited teachers from the Kagju to teach here. We're open when our doors are open, we're open for anyone to come and practice who's interested in meditation and interested in Buddhism. We completely are here to be of benefit to all mother sentient beings, but we honor the tradition that we're taught in, which is the Gelug, and our founder, Khenzo Rinpoche, is a Gelug monk and was the former abbot of the Tashi Lumpo monastery in exile in South India. He was training at Tashi Lumpo as a young monk in the 50s when the Chinese came in. So just to let people know our backstory, because it's good to recognize where we're coming from. And thank everybody. We went a little bit over time, but if anyone has a wish to receive one of our prayer booklets, if you'd like to see what we have is in the booklet we have, as you saw online, we have the English that you saw, but we have the transliteration as we did for the opening for the refuge. And there are some other Gelugpa traditional prayers as well inside that are in both English and Tibetan. If you're interested, just I guess the easiest is go on our website and send an email to tglmaine@gmail.com, and we'll give your name and address if you'd like to have us send out a copy to you. We'll be happy to do that. And if you'd like to join the email mailing list, we'll be happy to put you on. So thank you, everybody. Thank you to Janet, who's doing our Zoom recording and mastering, and hope you all have a great week. I'll just remind everyone this Friday, we have Medicine Buddha Puja. So from 6:30 to 8, we'll have a different little bit of a shrine set up for our offering for Medicine Buddha. And if you'd like to receive the practice booklet for that ahead of time, definitely send an email out tonight so that we can try to put that in the mail to you. We don't have that up online, but we definitely could try to mail it to you in time if you'd like to have the Medicine Buddha words. Actually, now I think about it, we do have it online. We have it as a link. So if you can download it and keep it on your computer, that's even better than mailing it. It's better for the environment. So you can find it on our website under Medicine Buddha Practice, and the booklet is already there. Somebody, our webmaster, kindly took care of that. That's good. Okay, so have a lovely week. Hope to see you on Friday. And the other thing we have this weekend on Sunday morning from 10:30 or 10 to 11:30, yeah, 10 to 11:30, we have our Heart Sutra, our book study, our book group. And that information is also on our website. If you're jumping in midstream, you're welcome to do it. It's based on the Heart Sutra. This is the most important sutra of the Buddhist teachings, the Prajnaparamita, and the book is on the website. Some of the preparatory questioning for the book studies on the website, you can find that out. If you have the book, it's fine. If you don't, it's still fine. You can join us. It will be a little bit of Q&A, and welcome to join. Okay, so thanks to everyone. Again, hope your practice is going well. We always offer this session on Monday evenings. All of our practices that we offer, we never charge for anything, but if you're inclined, we do have a PayPal. It helps us to keep our lights on. It helps us to get new materials in for the Sangha that we need, print up new prayer booklets, get new materials here, get items for our puja offerings, and deeply appreciate it because it also is going towards our savings. We're trying to build a new prayer center, a new temple shrine room, and we're going to need to, do bigger fundraising. So I generally haven't asked or made this kind of pitch at the end, but and a bigger scale than just making a PayPal donation. If anyone's interested in helping us start to think about how to create the causes and conditions to develop a whole new shrine room in Freeport, Maine, somebody's offered some land, and these wheels are beginning to turn. So that's great, because we're really happy. We need to keep the Dharma alive, and to be able to have the chance to do this is quite wonderful. It really fulfills His Holiness the Dalai Lama's wishes that we build more teaching centers, we build more living centers of where the Dharma can be shared in the West, especially through meditation, through study, not building big statues of the Buddha. He's often saying these days, statues sit there, but they can't speak. So we really need to learn the Dharma to have it really be impactful. So we're very grateful to the Thompsons for hosting our center here for so many times, not just our center, but this itinerant monk nun who's here now in a lovely space, feeling very grateful. And it really will take our whole Sangha effort to get our next version of our Tashi Getzeling project off the ground, but I'm sure we'll do it. So hope your practice is going great, and see you soon. Emaho.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.